In addition to health care, the next governor will be inheriting the largest unemployment rate in years at almost 11%. What specifically do you propose to create more jobs and higher paying jobs? You mentioned graduating more qualified people as part of it, but what else?
That is a major part of what we're talking about. The people in this community, as well as the rest of our state, need to understand that every time someone from Tennessee graduates from a community college or from a college, we all benefit. There is a benefit there, there is a connection there, and it's a connection from that graduation to getting a job that's not going to end up in Pakistan, a job that is not going to end up in Canada. That is what we have to turn our attention and our focus to do that. Now we will be and will continue to be aggressive in regards to recruitment of industry, just as we were in Clarksville, just very close away, and just as we were in Chattanooga with the Volkswagen. The West Tennessee mega site is a very important issue, one that has gotten somewhat political and somewhat involved in controversy. These mega sites are very important and very fortunate that our commissioner and our governor have looked to see how do you recruit big industry and big jobs. You've already got to have a site ready for them. You can't, like we used to in regards with the Saturn plant years ago or with the other automobile plants, get them to commit and then say, oh, now we're going to go build the road for you. Now we're going to put in the sewer. Now we're going to put in the environmental. No, we've got to have those sites in the competitive market we're in. There cannot be that long-term timeline between saying you're going to come to Tennessee and then being able to go. This community college could be a huge economic engine for this area if it had curriculum, and I'm sure it has some curriculum, based upon the job needs of the businesses in this area. There has to be that partnership between people who are employing folks, who want to employ more folks, and the community college who's going to try to find those folks for them.
Definitely. As you mentioned, the big mega site park is underway in Haywood County in West Tennessee. People around here haven't heard a lot about that. So since you mentioned it, tell us a little bit more about that.
The state, we decided years ago that we would try, as we're trying to recruit industry, have 3 mega sites, one in Hamilton County, one in the Clarksville area, and one in Haywood County. Now you may have said, well, why didn't you have it in Knoxville, Gallatin, and Brownsville? Well, we didn't. I mean, we could have, but we just didn't. The decisions were made where they were. What we have done is we're securing a large parcel of land, and we are making that site available for a large industry to come in. By large, I mean a large industry that would create spin-off jobs. Right. Interestingly enough, the town that is most interested in the Haywood County mega site is Jackson, Tennessee, because they see that as a way for their community to really grow with the spin-off businesses. I mean, you get your jobs from let's say the Volkswagen plant in Hamilton County, but then there's all the other jobs that are created for the suppliers and other folks that make the business work. Now we're doing that, but we're also doing the solar farm, which is going to be very interesting to folks. We're going to take several acres of land right on the interstate, right on 40 when you're going to Memphis, and fill it with solar panels. And because we have learned, interestingly enough, that in summer, the amount of sun heat generated rays of the sun are within 80% of what they would be in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, if you've ever been in Memphis or West Tennessee in the summertime, you know that is true, that it is very hot. And but we're going to build this entire deal and create solar energy, and then take the energy and sell it to TVA, which we have to do, and then we're going to buy more panels and reinvest and reinvest and reinvest. But it's a way to do 2 things. It's part of the governor's energy initiative, green energy initiative, which I sponsored. Like I said, I've sponsored all his initiatives, but it's a way for people to see that we're looking solar and trying to be more green. I mean, if you think about it, who are the people in our state who are the most green oriented? They are our children, because they're the ones who pay attention to it. And Caroline Kyle, I have to digress on this story. Caroline says, I want to walk to school this year. Well, I didn't want her to walk to school this year because that meant I would have to walk to school her this year. And we had this real to-do about it, and she's not. But I finally said, why do you want to walk to school? She says, because we're all going green at our school, Daddy. And that way you just don't know how many gallons of gas you'd save if we could just walk to school. I was thinking, that's true, but I still don't want to walk you to school. Anyhow, but again, they all had to come up with their green project. And so
Right.
kids are sometimes ahead of us.
I commend her on her commitment.
She is. She's quite a pistol.
I can imagine that some opponents to these projects would say that building the mega sites, putting the cart before the horse. I can see where you're saying if you build it, they will come. At what point do you stop the preparation and keep the not putting too much money into the mega site?
Well, you've got to buy the land to go ahead and get
Right.
that, and you've got to do some basic generic infrastructure to be there. And then then your Department of ECD and through recruitment, and the governor in particular, will again continue to target
Right.
industries. I mean, it is not an accident that one of the big new jobs came from a company that was overseas, coming to Tennessee, the Volkswagen company. So you've got to be worldwide in your vision.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to look at the technology that's being developed in other places. And then you've got to start seeing how you can modify. It's a lot like home building to a degree, if you think about it, that you build your lots, and then the home builders come out and say, well, I can build this kind of a house on this lot, and I can build a house on this lot. You kind of work with them like that.
Definitely. Well, 10 years ago, you were in favor of the state income tax, and you have since said that you don't think that's a good move or something that's necessary for the state. Where was your change in stance?
Well, first of all, I did vote the proposal, the income tax proposal. I was on the finance committee, and we were trying to balance the budget. Very serious situation. Phil Bredesen became governor and told us that we could govern without an income tax. The people of Tennessee have stated that they want to have what I would say a sales tax or consumption tax system, and that's what we're going to have. And I am opposed to an income tax. And then, let me just say, I'm not afraid to change my mind. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to do what you think is right.
Absolutely.
And but I have promised that I will veto an income tax, and that is off the table. The only people I know who really talk about the income tax are the ones who like to talk about how they voted against it.
Indeed. There is a huge shortfall, however, right now in the state budget due to the basing it on the spending and the taxing. And how do we solve that problem?
Well, there's only three things, as you know, you can tax. Yeah. You can tax a person's income, which we're not going to do. Mm-hmm. You can tax a person's property, which we generally let local governments do.
Right.
And you can tax a person's consumption, is what we do. Tennessee, when this recession began, was one of the first states to show the effects because people quit spending.
Right.
We'll be one of the first states to be well when people start spending again. I mean, we have, and that's just the optimism we have to have in this country, that we're going to get through lean times. We're going to those are the tough decisions that a governor has to make. That's why someone who has worked in state government, has balanced budgets, have made tough choices. I've already cut things that people like, have had to say, I'm sorry, but where this is more important than that. That's why I can be a good governor.
We've got just under 2 minutes left. Mm-hmm. What else will we see in the first few weeks if you become governor?
Well, let's go over 2 or 3 things that we're going to do. First of all, we're going to begin a process of restructuring our education system. Secondly, we're going to make sure that our budget is balanced without new revenue. Thirdly, we're going to make sure that our economic development teams are out there in recruiting. And fourth, that we have a transition of philosophy that is very consistent with what people have had. I think people are satisfied with the philosophy and the progress that our state government has made. And I want to reassure people during those first 6 months that the name has changed on the door, but everything is moving along the same way.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of this busy schedule to be here with us.
Well, I'm glad to be here and look forward to coming back.
All right. Well, if you would like more information on Jim Kyle's campaign for governor, you can log on to his website at jimkyle2010.com. And if you'd like to watch this program again or review other programs in our series covering the 2010 governor's race, we have a link to those programs on our website at volstate.edu/Inside Politics. We'll see you next time right here on Inside Politics.
For more information about the guests on this show, please visit our website at volstate.edu/Inside Politics.